Good afternoon, Cougar Country is back once again with another episode of the ALX Press Box. Today we are joined by Coach Brhianna Russell. She is our head volleyball coach, as well as one of our assistant swimming coaches. Coach Russell, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. And how are you, Mr. Chandler?
We're doing good. We're doing good. We just take two of this recording. Snafu, but that's okay. It couldn't be that organic. We didn't want it to be that live. But also we got one of our student moderators here from sunny Florida. Miss Naya.
Hi.
How you doing, Naya?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So you're enjoying this social separation down in Eustis, Florida, right? What's that a suburb of?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Where are you? What major city are you near in Florida right now?
I'm near Orlando, like 30 minutes, maybe to an hour out from Orlando.
Okay. Yes, it's warm now. Go on and tell the people how hot it is there.
It's 84 degrees right now, and it's sunny. Pretty sunny.
If any recruiters from FAMU are watching this video, make sure y'all and my girl Naya says that FAMU is her first choice. She is ready to go to your school. Please sign her up today. Boom. Okay. So we're gonna jump right in, Coach. Tell us a little bit about your background, your history. How did you end up coming to Alexander High School?
Okay, so I actually graduated from Alexander High School, and after college, I somehow with my English degree started in dentistry. So I picked up a second job on the weekends, and I actually had picked up a shift on a weekday, and I had the entire downstairs. We were close to closing, and the entire Alexander basketball team comes in with the principal, Mr. Hand at the time, Miss Rager, who's now my department head, Miss Blackstone, and somebody else was there too. I can't recall who, but anyway, I was serving all of them, and we just got to talking about, what I'd done after high school. They all remembered me. Miss Rager actually taught me 3 out of the 4 years that I went to Alexander, and she just kind of brought up, have you thought about going back to school? Have you thought about getting into teaching? And I said, yeah, I've thought about it. That was actually my first direction when I started college, and I just kind of changed my mind, and I had actually started thinking about it before they came in. And after having that conversation with them, I just went home and I prayed about it, talked about it with my parents and my friends, and they all said the same thing, like, oh yeah, you should definitely be a teacher. I could see that for you. I don't know why you're in dentistry or how you even got there. Like, you need to explore that path. So I called up Mr. Hand, asked if there was anything there for me, and there was a parapro position at the time. So I took that job in the middle of the school year, and that's how I got into it. Went ahead and applied for the master's program at West Georgia, got in, and now I'm a 9th grade English teacher.
Boom, just like that. Overnight,
just like that.
Divine intervention is what we call that.
Yes, absolutely. The door opened and I walked through it.
So how'd you end up being the volleyball coach?
So I actually knew a thing or two about volleyball from high school, and I was friends with a lot of the girls that were on the volleyball team at Alexander. One of them, Jesse Fuller, is actually my assistant coach now, and Jen Smith, also an assistant coach, also played for Alexander. Anyway, so back in, I think it was like May. It was last May, the very end of the school year. Mr. Small put out an email saying like, hey, we're looking for a head volleyball coach. If anybody's interested, let me know. Well, first thing I did was reach out to Jessie because she, I know, still does volleyball outside of school. And I asked her about it. I was like, hey, do you think this is something that I should look into? And she was like, oh my God, absolutely. You need to say that you're interested in that. Reach out to him, ask if you can have an interview. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, he was all for it, and I really didn't expect him to be all for it with me being the new kid. But I have to say, like, it is such a blessing that Mr. Small was so open to me stepping in that role, because it's been a blast, a wild ride, but a blast.
Indeed.
But kind of like getting into teaching, it was, hey, you want this? Sure. Okay. Here I am.
Right, right. Go ahead, Naya.
So first, has Alexander changed a lot since you graduated, like structure wise?
Oh yeah, definitely. Mr. Hand and Mr. Small are two totally different people. And that's not in a bad way at all. They're just different, you know? When I was actually a student, Mr. Hand was principal, so it was kind of weird. I didn't really know Mr. Small that well. Like I'd seen his face around, but now he's the principal, and I think the kids sense that it's different too. Like
Yeah.
he's so stoic, you know what I mean? And I don't know, he gave Alexander a facelift too, and I just feel like the morale is just different, and I don't know, I can't really put my finger on it. They're all positive changes, but I don't know, I loved being a Cougar when I was a student too, so I might just be a little biased. I think it's great regardless.
True.
So
What is it like being a coach? Does it ever interfere with teaching, or does it both correlate with each other?
Um, so as a first year teacher and a first year coach, it took me a minute to grasp how to balance the two because I'm also a master's student. So thank God I don't have kids. I don't know how those people do it. But at the beginning it was really tough because the volleyball season really, if you don't know anything about it, getting hired in May as the volleyball coach was really, really late. Just to put it in perspective, my schedule is completely made for this coming season. Tryouts are supposed to be in May, and you have preseason workouts in April. All of your informational meetings are taken care of before March. And, you know, now with the virus, that's a little bit different too. But last year, I didn't have a team till July. I didn't have a schedule. I didn't have anything. And when I came in, our team was made 3 days before our first match, and it was a quad match against 3 of the toughest schools in the area. And it was a huge wake-up call, and it stressed me out from the word go. So that, on top of getting my first classroom, having to put together lesson plans, and I'd never done anything like coaching before. I was comfortable in the classroom, and I tried so hard to like focus on my strengths, I guess, because it was really hard feeling defeated at the beginning of the season. But as time went by, I learned to kind of put that feeling of defeat in the back of my mind and focus on the positive. And the positive was my kids are great. I have 6 classes, and I love every single class. They have their challenges, but for the most part, I love them, and I know that they love me. And my girls were the same way. It got to where I was looking more forward to practices than I had been at the beginning of the season, because the closer that I got with them, the more we were able to talk about our ups and downs and figure out ways together to work through those. And I guess that's what kind of saved my sanity, was building what felt almost like a mother-daughter relationship with my kids, and knowing that they honestly cared about my sanity as much as I did. And they were always trying to put a smile on my face, and, you know, they acknowledged that we were in this together. And I think having those relationships in the classroom and outside the classroom helped me find the balance that I needed. And it was late in the season, but I finally got there.
So let me ask you this. What are you looking forward to the most with this coming season, and, you know, your returning players, and the new region alignment, all of that good stuff? What's kind of your focus right now?
Them and me almost like waking up and realizing we didn't quit.
Okay.
You know, last season really kicked us a couple times. And I think that this year I've had a lot of the girls who played, you know, they're going to be seniors, and they're excited for this season. And it feels good to know that this season we're going to go in, we know what worked and what didn't work last year. And I think that they know I'm here to stay, and they needed that. Alexander has actually had a couple of coaches over the past few years for the volleyball program. And I think the girls just need someone steady. And I think that this year they're going to see, and, you know, I see it too, that we've become a family, and we're going to stay a family, and we're going to stick together. And we know our strengths and weaknesses way better than we did last year. We know each other better than we did last year, and that's going to show on the court.
Okay.
So,
What's special about your program? Why do you like volleyball so much, or what made you interested in volleyball?
so volleyball is one of those sports where you look at it and you may mistakenly think to yourself, that doesn't look so hard.
Yeah.
It is so hard. Like, it is but it's fun. Like, it's one of those games where when you mess up, you really can just shake it off and try again, because it goes by so fast. You know, like every single point, I mean, it can be over in 3 seconds, or maybe it can take up to 5 minutes before that ball hits the ground or goes out of bounds. And that's exciting. It's thrilling. You're always on your toes. You're constantly moving. It's energetic. You have to talk the whole time, and it's so hard to hear, which is crazy, because, you know, it doesn't always draw the biggest crowd. You know, sometimes it does, but a lot of times the gym was only filled on one side of the bleachers, and you still couldn't hear, because the girls are just screaming at each other, in a good way, you know, screaming directions to one another. I'm sitting over there screaming, move up, you know. And then, of course, you have the basketball team would come out all the time and support us, and they were crazy loud supporting us. But I think it's just fun, like, having to tune all of that out and watch the ball, watch each other, and, you know, of course, I don't know, it's just fun. You get to build connections with each other's off the court. Like, a lot of our practices are actually mini games, like they're drills that we run, and they're designed to kick the girls' butts, but in the most fun way possible.
Okay.
So
What are some things that your girls can do now, you know, while we're kind of away from one another? We don't have use of the gym and the nets. What are some things that you would, you know, say to your girls to stay sharp in this moment now?
So volleyball is one of those games that you really can practice on your own, even though it is a team sport. So when you're bored in the house, you can go outside, grab a ball, and set it up against the wall, or even, you know, pass it to yourself over and over again. Of course, if you're not afraid of getting muddy, you can have somebody go outside with you, and in the rain, have someone, you know, hit a down ball to you, and you have to dive for it on the ground. I mean, that was, to me, as a, you know, I wasn't a tomboy growing up, but I did like getting muddy. That would be fun. But also, they really need to be working out. I am a little bit concerned about the possibility of us not being able to have preseason workouts. And that was something that I was looking forward to this year, because a lot of the girls, you know, they were missing that conditioning. It was something that kind of got pulled out of the program, and I'm trying to put it back in, because as athletes, you have to be tough. You have to have a strong core. You have to have, you know, strong legs. They're doing a lot of jumping movements. They need to work on their calves. And that was something I was going to help them with this year. And I mean, it would be great if they would go ahead and maybe pull up a YouTube video or two and look at some HIIT exercises. Those high interval and high intensity interval training is going to help them a lot, because they, you know, with this sport, they're going to have slow spots where the game's not moving, and then, you know, intense high interval spots where they're going to have to be on their game and moving quickly. So that's a great way to condition them.
Okay, thanks.
Do you have a motto for your team? Do you have something that you go by with your girls?
Yeah, so actually this year, last year I talked about doing it, and just so much happened that it never got up. But this year I'm starting off with #BrickHouse, because I want every girl to look at themselves as a brick. You know, you're tough, you're hard, you can hurt somebody, you know, not that they should, but you get what I mean. Like, a brick is strong, that's tough, but on its own, it's not going to do a lot. You need teamwork, you need support, you need hard work, and that's the mortar. And once you get the mortar, lay it between the bricks, stack them up, all of a sudden now you have a brick wall. And we have overcome so many obstacles that this year we're not having that. We're going to be an obstacle this year. So we're going to be the brick wall. And that's what I really want them to live by is, you know, you can't be a brick wall on your own. You're just one brick. You have to link together. You have to join arms. You have to love your neighbor. You have to, you know, respect your teammate and see them as the sister that they are and become a brick wall together.
That's
Mhm.
awesome. I love it,
Okay.
Coach. I love it. The brick house. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna bring the y'all's intro music is gonna be Brick House by the Commodores.
Yeah.
Out on that
That's kind of what I had in my head.
So we are, you know, we're gonna wrap it up now, Coach. Any parting words you want to give to the Cougar Nation and your girls? Anything to keep them pumped up during this time?
Yeah, you know, just because we can't physically be together doesn't mean that we can't be together virtually. That's the great thing about the 21st century. So stay in touch, check on each other, reach out. You never know, you know, what somebody's going through during this time. And there's no better feeling than knowing that someone cares. And that's the biggest thing is the Alexander House brought me back in with open arms. I feel like I never left home. And that's what feels so great is my teachers cared about me even after graduation. So make sure to care about your neighbor while you're still in school with them. You know, reach out to that coach, reach out to that teacher, reach out to that student and your friend and care, show you care.
Thank you for giving us this insight into Coach Brhianna Russell and also the Brick House girls. Thank you for everything you shared with us today. I look forward to talking to you again and seeing you in person too.
Awesome. Me too. I miss you guys.
All right. See you later, Coach.
Thank you.
Bye.